Hello again, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for this Thursday's edition of Alaska Weather. I'm Dave Percy, a meteorologist with the National Weather Service, and I'll be hosting today's show. Up first, we've got a webcam shot here of Nome, and a beautiful sunny day there, light winds, temperature about 50 degrees Fahrenheit, not bad for the 20th day of September. Somebody walking right there. And otherwise you can see quite the glistening effect of the sun on the water. That's not the sun there, that's a reflection off the clouds. It's of course higher up yet, so still high enough to make for a nice day there. And moving on, this now to southeast Alaska. This is Angoon, and really nice day across all of the panhandle from Dixon Entrance, although there were a few clouds down toward Dixon Entrance and over toward Hyder and Stewart, but nothing too serious. Very nice conditions were the rule across all the panhandle all the way up to Haines, where they recorded 66 degrees this afternoon. Otherwise, here in Angoon, they had light winds with temperature of about 55. And moving on, satellite imagery, you can see all the clear skies down across the panhandle there with dry air mass continuing at least for another day, day and a half or so. And then the clouds shifting into the central eastern interior. That brought a widespread area of light rain all the way in towards, or into the mid-Tanana Valley at least, and probably a little bit east of Fairbanks. They picked about 1/10 of an inch today, and not quite making it over to the border. Still enough sunshine, a little bit of a breeze kicked up, and Eagle's temperature rose to 72 degrees this afternoon, which was the warmest in the state, obviously, with 66, as I mentioned, down at Haines, right behind. Otherwise, south central Alaska, some clouds trying to work in to Cook Inlet, Kenai Peninsula, which actually are, but temperatures still rising in the lower 60s in some locations. More clouds, though, and Talkeetna picked up 1/100 of an inch of rain this afternoon as some of that moisture slides eastward. Most of it's banked up back to the west here along the Alaska Range on into the Kuskokwim Valley. Sleet mutes seen about 10 to 1500s today. Heaviest back up here to the northwest. This portion, as that slow-moving upper-level system pushes eastward, that's kind of the enhanced area of precipitation, with Indian Mountain picking up 6/10 of an inch, 12-hour period ending at 3 p.m. this afternoon. Kind of a heavier zone back down along this, looks like a trough right through here. And then some rainfall up into the areas, especially south on the southern slopes of the Brooks Range. Out to the west, big area of clouds, quite a cloud shield with this storm that's farther out to the southwest there, and that's spreading in rainfall in toward the Pribilofs, and lots of thick cirrus moving in toward Bristol Bay this afternoon. But sunshine, nothing but clear skies down at Kodiak Island this afternoon, and the western interior looking pretty good. As I mentioned, Nome clear, and clear up along the northwest coast as well in the Noatak Valley, Kotzebue Sound, possibly even Selawik, and Arctic coast pretty good again this afternoon, especially on the east side. Lots of sunshine, clear skies, VFR in that area. But the low center, right roughly in about this position here, the upper low a little bit farther back to the west, is showed up in the circulation a little better there in the satellite imagery. But pretty good gradient here. A lot of moisture. Inch of rain fell today at Adak. Again, 12-hour period at 3 p.m. this afternoone. So a fair amount of moisture with this. Gale force winds to go along with it there. Gale warnings are out central Aleutian, southern Bering Sea for into tonight and later on as this tracks northeastward. Otherwise, here's a trough right through here, keeping it unsettled here over the southwest, and then the main rain area back with this system as this low slowly tracks north, start tracking northeast. Now finally spread some clouds and moisture up to the eastern Arctic coast, the north slope later tonight and tomorrow. Otherwise, flat picked up 4/10 of an inch. So again, it was right a zone right through here. It had the heaviest precipitation amounts. Bettles, roughly 1/3 of an inch, as did Galena, same rainfall amount. So it's a pretty widespread area of light rain, nothing too terribly heavy. And so really no flooding conditions, except the Kenai River has glacial dam release, so river levels are quite high, expected to stay that way probably through tomorrow and even through the weekend. Otherwise, for tonight, storm system tracks northeastward here. And again, gale force winds, 35 to 40 knots in the forecast here, along in advance of the front, spreading eastward. Rain with a warm front into northeast Bristol Bay toward morning, all along the southwest coast here, from Togiak Bay to Nunivak Island, possibly Tuksuk Bay. This portion of this front here really weakens, just a narrow band of showers, really is pretty washed out at this point. And still an area of rain persisting over the central Tanana Valley, from about Denali, possibly the western Susitna Valley. We'll see a few showers. I wouldn't look for too much more. Isolated showers here over the Wrangell Mountains, maybe into northeast Bristol or northeast Prince William Sound. That's about it. Again, variable clouds over the eastern interior. This system now taking a turn up to the northeast and continuing to weaken, but holds on to the moisture source there. So it looks like rain will try to pull over the range there and get into the north slope areas late tonight. Otherwise, southeast coast, no change. Mostly clear skies throughout the night, light winds. Increasing low clouds, fog though along the outer coastline here later tonight. This system down to the south looks like it's going to stay there. As you can see, forecast for tomorrow, still down off Vancouver Island. Just clouds up to Dixon Entrance. Another mostly sunny day coming in tomorrow. Only problem, probably see an increase of the low clouds again on the outer coastline. Some of that could possibly form over the inside waters early on. Other than that, another dry, light wind day with plenty of sunshine up into the eastern Copper River Basin. Clouds on the increased central Copper River Basin. So high tomorrow, probably won't reach the 60 you saw today and yesterday at Gulkana. And then rain, south central Alaska with this trough, all that moisture sliding northeastward with that strong southwest jet coming across the southern Bering and the Aleutians is driving this all east-northeastward. And very windy tomorrow, 25 gusts, 35, maybe even gusts 40, 45 along the coast in areas here for the winds. And rain, possibly moderate at times in areas. I don't think there'll be too much in the way of any heavy rain. And a band of moisture right up, finally pushing eastward here to the into the Eagle area. You won't see 72 tomorrow like you did today. And it looks like rain, snow chances, light areas of here over the eastern Arctic coast and north slope. And really just cloudy back to the west, real hit and miss, mostly miss rain or snow showers, and some lingering showers over the northern Koyukuk Valley and the central Brooks Range. And look for more clouds there for the White Mountain Nome area. Chance of showers, definitely probably cloudy skies there. Dry over Kotzebue Sound, the Kobuk Valley. Aleutians, not too bad west winds, probably 10 to 20 with isolated, probably no showers tomorrow at all. And showers and wind though for the Pribilof Islands. And the next system, pretty weak, just coming onto the edge of the chart. We'll see that really just kind of troughs out and drops southeastward here with a band of rain coming into the western Aleutians, changing to showers for Shimi and Attu. Dry for the most part, mostly, at least part of the day, mostly cloudy and dry Adak and Atka. Areas of fog, southern, southeast Bering Sea, Bristol Bay. Clearing in the afternoon behind this front as it pushes eastward across south central Alaska. So rain overnight tomorrow night, ending early, if not by Saturday morning here for south central Alaska. And possible afternoon sunshine, scattered showers along the Alaska Range. Band of rain pushing the Copper River Basin northward into the mid-Tanana Valley area, but just off to the east 40-mile country, maybe nothing more than a few showers. And then that system pulling off finally out of the picture, but this still has this trough extending back to the southwest. That's going to keep a risk of some rain or snow showers of the very light variety for the eastern Beaufort Sea coast, and dry back to the west. A break here for the central and eastern Aleutians, as I mentioned, up to the Pribilofs. Less wind, just a breeze, and hopefully a dry day. And it looks like finally some rain with that strong southwest jet will drive into the northern panhandle from about Port Alexander up to maybe as far east as Juneau in the late afternoon. Just a chance of rain, but definitely Elfin Cove and Yakutat on up into the central Copper River Basin. Look to be pretty wet. So looking at on down here, this wave forming here kind of depends. If a low center forms, probably nudge some moisture all the way across the Alaska Peninsula. But at this point in time, right now, there's a chance of rain for the south side, Chignik, Sand Point, and that's about it with just clouds elsewhere. So that will kind of be a iffy forecast for the next couple of days, or for Saturday, first day of the weekend. Anyway, lows tonight for Friday morning, lower to mid 30s here, with mostly in the lower 30s in the eastern and central Beaufort Sea coast. Mid 30s, North Slope, mid to upper 30s for the Brooks Range, and mid to upper 30s to mid 40s here, quite a range in the interior areas. Lower to mid 40s over the southwest part of the state, to mid 40s, King Salmon 46, as well as Dillingham. Lower 50s, Alaska Peninsula on out to Atka, and the southeast coast looks like a little milder now for your overnight lows, with upper 30s to lower 40s and 40 to 45 south central Alaska. Highs for tomorrow still possibly approaching 60 degrees in the Kenai and Susitna Valley areas. Might not quite make it. And same thing here for the Alaska Peninsula and Northeast Bristol Bay, 55 to 60. 50s the remainder of the interior. 55 to 63 or 4 for the Panhandle, again with sunshine, and 30s to 40s from the Brooks Range to the Arctic coast, and lower 50s, lower to mid for the Aleutians and Alaska Peninsula. And Saturday morning lows, upper 20s, lower 30s here, eastern North Slope and Arctic coast, and 30s, mid 30s down the east side in the Copper River Basin, upper 40s, south central Alaska, 52 for Kodiak, lower 50s or upper 40s, lower 50s for the Alaska Peninsula, otherwise mostly in the 40s. And then the high temperatures, again for Saturday afternoon, upper 50s to near 60, and warmer here with temperatures 55 to 60 with sunshine in the afternoon for Kodiak Island from Bristol Bay up into the Kenai Peninsula. And the southeast coast, of course, with the clouds of moisture coming in, a little cooler there, looking highs now 55 to 60 with the best chance of rain again on the north coast.
And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
First flying weather graphic for tomorrow morning. We've got a lot of marginal VFR and IFR as well here, sliding on into the interior and also along and south of the Brooks Range. Marginal VFR back to the western Arctic coast, and a big slug of IFR out here over the central Aleutians to Unimak Island northward, just getting into the Pribilofs and over the south central Bering Sea. VFR for the Panhandle, that continues into the afternoon. Stays VFR Yakutat right on down the southeast coast, and holding on to the eastern interior here until you get up around the Porcupine River on across the Brooks Range. IFR mostly holding off the Arctic coast there, except maybe around Point Barrow, just grazing it. And a lot of marginal VFR here in the interior, and a band of IFR reaching the southwest coast here, and then dissipating but holding together a little bit better on down across, well, from Togiak Bay down to the Alaska Peninsula or so. And then for Saturday morning, a lot of IFR up here over the Arctic coast, down to the Brooks Range. Some of that could spill into the northern Koyukuk Valley. IFR for sure here, Alaska Range and North Gulf Coast, Kenai Peninsula, western Prince William Sound, and some VFR lingering up over the 40-mile country and on the north side of the Alaska Range a little bit there. And VFR also holds over the southeast coast for tomorrow, or for Saturday morning, but also the marginal VFR getting quite close to areas like Elfin Cove and possibly up to Yakutat, and the Bering Sea covered with marginal VFR, with just isolated areas of marginal VFR with isolated areas of IFR. And then for Saturday afternoon, no change out there really. The marginal VFR is still widespread across the entire zones out there, including the Aleutians, into the southwest interior, into the central. Starts to break up a little bit here due to the mountainous terrain, where there'll also be some lingering areas of IFR along the Alaska Range and the North Gulf Coast here in the Coast Mountains. VFR returning Fognak Island and south of the Alaska Peninsula, as well as Cook Inlet, and then a narrow band of VFR here just south of the Brooks Range, with marginal VFR from the mountains there northward to the Arctic coast, hitting some IFR here along the eastern Beaufort Sea coast, and the Panhandle a little bit marginal here for the, well, from say Mount Edgecombe or Port Alexander up into the northern areas, Lynn Canal, Glacier Bay. Otherwise, looks like the VFR will last through the weekend for the remainder of the areas on down to Dixon Entrance. And for passes, Anatuvik, marginal tomorrow, occasionally marginal for Adigan as well. And there we go. Lake Clark and Merrill, IFR, especially on the western entrances of both passes. rainy, starting out better, marginal VFR trending toward IFR, especially on that western entrance into the afternoon. Windy, IFR to marginal at times. Again, a surge of moisture coming in, so it'll be kind of bouncing back and forth throughout the day instead of this actually being the trend for both Isabel. But for Mentasta, marginal VFR possibly on the southern entrance. Could be VFR through the pass probably the entire day. Tanita, VFR trending toward marginal in the afternoon. And for Portage, VFR to IFR, just a downward trend in conditions, lowering ceilings of visibilities throughout the day. Definitely IFR toward evening. Chilcoot and White, another day of VFR, but looks like Saturday probably be marginal. Otherwise, freezing level 6,000 feet for the Panhandle, southern Alaska, upper level low 2,000 feet associated with that, and then the southwest flow here pulling a good chunk of warm air up to 12,000 feet there for the Fox Islands, 10,000 feet even into the southeast Bering and Pribilofs, and very strong southwest jet here, as we'll see in a moment, pushing a lot of moisture into that storm. Areas of considerable moderate rime icing here in the orange shaded areas along in advance of the front, right from the Yukon Delta across the Kuskokwim Valley, Alaska Peninsula, Aleutian Range, and then south of the Fox Islands. And from there, a jet stream. Here's that southwest jet, 160 knots with the upper level low tracking to just near St. Matthew Island. This weaker one slowly continues to move eastward. Eventually he's going to get kicked out with, you can see the flow kind of diverges here and weakens, but very strong out to the west. 9,000 feet, 40 to 50 knot winds over the Bering Sea to 30 to 35 for the Aleutians. South 25 to 35, increasing here over southern Alaska, 20 knots over the eastern interior. Light and variable for the North Gulf Coast and the Panhandle. Same thing at about 3,000 feet. Light winds for the Panhandle, strongest 25 to 45 with that low. Southern Bering Sea to the Aleutians, lighter over the interior. Turbulence, Kodiak Island westward to Kiska.
Shine on Harvest Moon. Welcome to Stargazers. I'm James Albury, director of the Kika Silva Pla Planetarium in Gainesville, Florida.
And I'm Dehne Regis, astronomer for the Cincinnati Observatory. We're here to help you find your way around the sky. Monday, September 24th is the official night of the harvest moon.
That's right, Dehne. Fall is coming and it's time to harvest the crops. Traditionally, the harvest moon really helped farmers a lot since it lights up the entire night. It rises as the sun sets, rides high across the sky most of the night, and sets as dawn breaks.
So, we're going to follow its path all night and check out the sky in early evening, after midnight, and just before dawn. Plus, we'll delve into why the moon looks bigger when it's near the horizon. Let's show you.
Okay, we have our skies set for just after sunset on the night of September 24th, facing east. The harvest moon is just rising above the horizon. People often ask us if the harvest moon is bigger than other moons.
Sometimes, but not always. The moon changes its distance from us, and when it is closer to us, like 2015's harvest moon, we get to see a supermoon. Now this September, it will not appear especially large, and the next supermoon isn't until next February.
Another question we get a lot is, why does the moon look orange when it's low in the sky like this? In order to reach your eyes, the light of the moon has to pass through more of the Earth's atmosphere. That extra air shifts the color you see towards the red, just as it does to the sun at sunset.
Now we have our sky set to around 1 a.m., and I'm glad I stayed up late. When you face east, you get a preview of the stars of fall, like the V-shaped face of Taurus the Bull, and just above it, the Pleiades star cluster, also known as the Seven Sisters.
But at this late hour, the harvest moon is so high in the sky, we better fly up there. At this point, it's actually the morning of September 25th. On September 24th and September 26th, the moon will be almost full. So, for several nights in a row, this lunar beacon will shine down on your fields and give you enough light to work by.
Now that the moon is high in the sky, the reddish tint is gone. Through a telescope like this view, the moon is so bright that it's hard to see fine details. you can see the dark areas called maria and rays extending from the larger craters. But if you're going to look at the full moon through a telescope, I'd recommend wearing sunglasses. It is bright.
Good morning, everyone. It's now 6 a.m. and we're facing west as the harvest moon is sinking lower in the sky. As we move forward to 6:30 a.m. and 7 a.m., the moon begins to turn orange again, just as it did when it rose half a day ago.
And by 7:30, the sun will have risen in the east as the moon sets in the west. So during a harvest moon, you experience 12 hours of daylight from the sun and 12 hours of moonlight from the moon.
Now, why does the moon often look larger when it's near the horizon?
I know, I see this moon illusion all the time.
And it is an illusion. The moon isn't actually bigger, and you can prove it.
Simply take a dime, hold it at arm's length when the harvest moon is close to the horizon, and again later when it's at its highest point. You'll see that your dime will cover exactly the same amount of the moon.
But an even more fun way to prove this illusion is to bend over at the waist and watch the rising harvest moon upside down between your legs. Because bingo, it will instantly look smaller than when you looked at it right side up.
Be sure to try this when no one's looking.
So look for the harvest moon rising on the night of September 24th.
Then stay up late to watch it light up the September night.
Or get up really early to see it set as the sun rises.
Keep looking up.
And now, marine weather around Alaska.
Welcome back. Looking at today's sea ice analysis, quite a change from 2 days ago. Gone here and gone along the eastern Beaufort Sea coast, even on the east side there. And not only gone, but now way up to the north here. And this zone really shrunk from what it used to be. And next several days, that's going to continue to slow dissolve. Coastal water forecast, north to northwest, 15 for the coast tomorrow. Seas still pretty good, 3 to 4 feet. 10-knot winds on the extreme north coast, as well as the central northern inside waters there with 2-foot seas. Clarence Strait, north at 15, seas 3 feet. And for the Saturday outlook, Lynn Canal, south winds increasing to 20 knots with seas to 4 feet. West-northwest at 15, staying on the light side here for the south coast, seas at about 5 feet. Variable 10, central and southern inside waters. And now swinging around to the south, picking up to about 20 knots here, 4 to 5 foot seas on the north coast. Cook Inlet tomorrow, south 10 to 15 knots, seas 2 feet, south 15 for Kachemak Bay. Excuse me, south 10 for the Barren Islands. And kind of south to east, variable type light wind day tomorrow for the North Gulf Coast. Seas only 2 feet. Light winds out of the east for Prince William Sound. 15-knot easterlies. A little bit of an increase, but nothing significant for Prince William Sound. Seas still at 2 feet. West-southwest 15, 5 to 6 foot seas for the North Gulf Coast. Southwest 15. Barren Islands with 7 foot seas into Kachemak Bay, but seas there only 3 feet. But southwest 20 is expected to build the seas up to 8 feet here south of the Forelands and up to 7 feet north of the Forelands. And for Bristol Bay, south winds increasing to 30 knots tomorrow, or 30-knot winds, actually probably later tonight. But anyway, tomorrow, south 30, 7-foot seas, gale force winds south to southwest, 35 knots here for the Alaska Peninsula, seas 12 to 13 feet, and 30-knot southwest winds. Castle Cape to Sitkinak, otherwise Kodiak Island, southwest to 20. And that'll hold through Saturday, southwest 20, Shelikof Strait and up the east side of Kodiak there, and back to Castle Cape with 10-foot seas. Southwest 25, Alaska Peninsula, seas near 10 feet, and southwest 25 with 8-foot seas for Bristol Bay. Fox Islands tomorrow, southwest 25 to 35 knots, so gale warnings out, especially the south side of Unalaska Island there with seas 11 to 15 feet. West-southwest, 20 to 25, 8 to 13 foot seas for the central Aleutians, and from Amchitka Island to Kiska to Shimi and Attu, westerlies 20 to 25 knots. Again, a little lighter in the far western zones, 8 to 9 foot seas. And for Saturday, basically west on average for the western Aleutians there, with at 15, 6 foot seas, west-southwest 15. So coming back down here for Adak, and wind's not too bad for the Fox Islands, 10 to 20 knots out of the west or southwest with those seas 7 to 8 feet. And for the southwest coast, south to southeast, 30 knots tomorrow. Seas at 10 feet. We've got gales here for the St. Matthew Island zone. For easterlies at 35 with 12-foot seas, 14-foot seas go along with a 30-knot wind for the Pribilofs, and east at 30 knots for St. Lawrence Island. And then the outlook for Saturday, northeast 30, 9-foot seas, St. Lawrence Island, southwest 30 to 35 knots here. So we got gale force southwesterlies blowing into Kuskokwim Bay with 13-foot seas, west 30 for the Pribilofs. And the eastern Beaufort Sea coast, light northerlies 5 to 10, 2-foot seas, northeast at 10 there for the central coast, and west 15 for the west side, all the way down to the Bering Strait with seas 2 to 3 feet, not too bad. Those will increase to 20 knots out of the northeast from Wales all the way up to Cape Beaufort, west side of the Arctic coast there, east at 20, northeast 15. Looks like from the central coast here, all the way over to Demarcation Point with seas at about 3 feet. And for tonight, this low, very slow moving, takes a turn to the northeast there. That'll drag some moisture up into the eastern Brooks Range and start to spill into the north slope late tonight, and that'll increase the clouds, probably not until late tonight and tomorrow for the eastern coast. Clear and dry, increasing clouds along the south or along the panhandle. Big storm, wind, rain, gale force winds and rain coming up to the southwest coast. Progressing eastward, wet day for south central Alaska, especially in the afternoon. And along this front, chance of rain or snow light on the eastern Beaufort Sea coast. Windy and wet for the Yukon-Kuskokwim Delta. And that front pushes eastward and weakens on Sunday with rain finally getting into the northern southeast coast and rain or snow showers on the eastern Beaufort Sea coast.
These forecasts are for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating.